الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء، واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم، ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد، فإن خير الكلام كلام الله جل في العلا، وأحسن هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، وشر الأمور محدثاتها، وكل محدثة بدعة، وكل بدعة ضلالة، وكل ضلالة في النار. We continue Kitaab At-Tawheed, 7:09 p.m., Sunday, July the 28th, 2019, which agrees on the Hijri calendar, the 25th day of the Qa'dah, the year 1440 after the Hijrah of Mustafa alayhi salatu wasalam. We continue in the chapter as it says, باب ما جاء أن الغلو في قبور الصالحين يصيرها أوثانا. The chapter which comes in extremism in regards to the righteous, or the graves of the righteous. That extremism will make the graves of the righteous become idols that are worshipped besides Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. We were speaking about this chapter was made and is in direct correlation to what preceded it, meaning in the previous chapter. As you'll find that all of the chapters are connected and how all of them are related. For verily the ghulu, with extremism in the graves of the righteous, it will eventually make them become idols of worship besides Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, where the affair will take those who are extremists, where they'll actually start worshipping these graves, and they'll start worshipping its inhabitants, meaning from those who passed away in the graves. For verily extremism, as we know, is mujawazatul had madhan aw dhamman. That extremism is to transgress the bounds in, it doesn't matter whether it's in praise or in dispraise. One can transgress the bounds and exceed the bounds in praise and in dispraise. And what is intended here in the chapter which we're discussing now is transgressing the bounds in praise. For verily the graves, no doubt, has a right over us from two aspects. For those who pass and are inhabitants of the graves, they have rights upon us. You'll find that the first right, as the great Imam Ibn Uthaymin that he mentioned, it says, أَلَّا نُفَرِّطَ فِي مَا يَجِبُ لَهَا مِنَ الْإِحْتِرَامِ فَلَا تَجُوزُ إِهَانَتُهَا وَلَا الْجُلُوسُ عَلَيْهَا وَمَا أَشْبَهَ ذَلِكَ. Like, we do not neglect what is obligatory upon us of respect. For verily it is incumbent upon us, as far as the inhabitants of the grave, meaning those who are deceased and buried in the graves, it's obligatory for us not to فَلَا تَجُوزُ إِهَانَتُهَا وَلَا الْجُلُوسَ عَلَيْهَا. He says, for it's incumbent upon us not to ridicule the graves, meaning that we do not humiliate them by sitting upon them or praying near them, meaning going inside of the grave and praying next to it, or in front of it, or behind it, or on the side of it. And definitely not making dua to Allah thinking that the inhabitant of that particular grave has a distinguishing factor about it which will draw you close to Allah, or maybe subject your supplication to it being answered by Allah. So the first right in regards to the inhabitants of the grave is that we do not neglect in regards to their respect. So it's not permissible for us to humiliate their graves. For example, by sitting upon them, or sitting on them, or walking on top of them. For verily that is what? That is humiliating their grave, and that shows disrespect. So that's the first thing was incumbent upon one in regards to the graves or the inhabitants of the graves. Secondly, that we do not become extreme in regards to the graves as far as what? As far as what the Messenger of Allah ﷺ has said, what are the boundaries? And he described to us what are the boundaries in regards to the graveyards and its inhabitants. For example, as it comes to Sahih Muslim, قال علي بن أبي طالب لأبي الهياج الأسدي ألا أبعثك على ما بعثني عليه رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ألا تدع تمثالا إلا طمسته. So the second, which we're discussing now, that we do not exceed the bounds in, for example, which comes in the narration of Sahih Muslim on the authority of Ali ibn Abi Talib, that he said to Abu al-Hayyaj al-Asadi, he said, "Will I not send you on a mission in which the Messenger of Allah ﷺ set me upon," meaning that same mission, "that I do not find any idol except that I do not find any idol except that I wiped it out or I removed it, nor a raised grave that became high, or they built some type of structure on top of it, or it became raised except I leveled it." Except that I leveled it. And there's another narration of Ali ibn Abi Talib that he mentioned and said that there wasn't an image, meaning an image that was carved from a statue or for something that showed the image of someone who was righteous, except I erased it, or I changed its shape, or I removed it. However, you'll find that those graves that have a huge structure built on top of it that was raised, you'll find that those graves stand out from the rest of the graves. And for that reason, it's incumbent upon one to level it off, or to make it level, meaning make it the same as everybody else's grave. Not to make it of something that stands out, whereas there's something special about it, in which shaitan will utilize in order for the people to fall into polytheism. So the person would level it, and they would make it equal, in order for one not to think that this particular grave has what they call a khususiyah. It has something special about it, and has a distinguishing factor about it. Because what comes as a result of that, as we mentioned, after a period of time elapsing, it will become a method for as they will start to become or fall into becoming extreme in it, whereas they'll fall into worshiping it. So you'll find that this book of Kitaab At-Tawheed, that the great Imam mentioned all the narrations, not only of polytheism, ya ma'ashal ikhwa, but also all the different ways that one could fall into it, or it would lead down its path. The Messenger of Allah sealed and closed the doors totally, so the people do not fall into the most uglified or vilified sin, that as a result of it, one could abide in the hellfire forever if they die in that state. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us and you firm upon At-Tawheed. فَقَوْلُهُ الصَّالِحِينَ. If you notice in the title, it says the righteous. The righteous. Those who go to the extreme and the graves of the righteous. As the righteous, we know, is comprehensive for numerous meanings. It's comprehensive for the prophets, the messengers, and those who came after them from the Sahaba and the Tabi'een, and those who followed them from the A'imma, from Ahl Ilm, from the people of knowledge, or the people of Hadith, as they are the awliya of Allah. As the awliya of Allah are Ahl al-Aqidah al-Sahiha, As-Salafiyin wa al-Hadith, the true awliya of Allah, are the people of Salafiyah, the people of Hadith, the people who hold fast and cling to the Sunnah, and who are upon righteousness and uprightness in a religion in every aspect, whether it be in aqidah, whether it be in prayer, whether it be in ibadah, whether it be in dealings with the people. They are the awliya of Allah. However, this word salihin in regards to those who are righteous, whereas the common folk, where shaitan led them down the path of becoming extreme in regards to them, as a result of it, you'll find, like we said, they made the graves of the righteous idols that are worshipped. Are they idols? By the meaning of the word, meaning those who are deceased in the graves, are they considered people of Wathaniyah, meaning those righteous people? Are they people of polytheism or paganism? We say no. Why? We said because what Ibn al-Qayyim mentioned about the meaning of Tawheed. The meaning of Tawheed is كل ما تجاوز به العبد حده من معبود متبوع مطاع في معصية الله, to the end of it. But at any rate, Ibn al-Qayyim gave an explanation of the meaning of Tawheed, that every person who died who is righteous and the people worship them or worship their grave does not necessitate their Tawheed. Why? Because if it reached them that the people were taking them as deities of worship, they would reject the people worshiping them. And because of that, they are not considered people who are Tawheed, and they are not considered people of Wathaniyah, whether it be from the angels or the prophets or the messengers or the awliya of Allah, from the A'imah or the people of Hadith. Why? Because you'll find that Ibn al-Qayyim mentioned in the ta'rif or the definition of Tawheed, man ubida wa huwa radin, the one who is worshipped and he is pleased with the people worshiping them. For that person is a Tawheed. But if, as we know, the prophets and the messengers, if it reached them that anyone from the creation was worshiping them, would they be pleased? We would say no. So as a result of it, they are not considered a Tawheed, nor as they are considered specifically people of paganism or idol worship in the least. They are not considered that. But however, when the great Imam Shaykh Muhammad Abdul Wahhab rahimahullah, when he mentioned the word wathan or othan, that their graves become like idols, he was saying that in regards to what the people done, not that what the people who's deceased from the righteous, what they, as if they did anything, but what the people took them as. So the blameworthiness fell upon the people who took them in this manner, not those who particularly died from the righteous. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Is it clear what I'm saying? فَكُلُّ مَا نُصِبَ لِلْعِبَادِ فَيُقَالْ لَهُ صَنَمٌ. As we know the word wathan, the meaning of it, the meaning of the word wathan in the Arabic language, or othan is the plural. The singular is wathan and the plural is othan. As we know, wathan is anything that is worshipped along with Allah, whether it be a human being or in the image of a human being or animal or other than that, whether it be a rock, a tree, stars, the sun, the moon, whatever. That's a wathan. Anything that's been raised for worship, it doesn't matter whether it's been put in the image of a person or an animal or rock or other than that, it's called a wathan. It's called a wathan. So al-wathan is more general. It's for anything. Whereas a sanam ma yuda'u ala surah, where the sanam, or the word sanam, is what was put in the form of an image of a human being or an animal. It's called a sanam. Sanam. Sad, Noon, Mim. That is akhas. A sanam is more specific, where a wathan is more general. It could be in the state or an image of a person, a human being, or other than that. So a wathan is more general, and a sanam is more specific. A sanam is ma yuda'u ala surah, that which was put in the form of an image. is a sanam. طيب, so these awthan, as you look in your books, everyone, it says روى مالك في الموطأ أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم, he made a dua, اللهم لا تجعل قبري وثنا يعبد اشتد غضب الله على قوم اتخذوا قبور أنبيائهم مساجد. So it comes in Imam Malik in his Muwatta. And Malik is who, everyone? Malik ibn Anas. Oh, say it again. What you say? Malik ibn Anas ibn Ibn Amir. Say it again. You had it right. You said it right. Let me see. You said you can't read your hand right there. It's Malik ibn Anas ibn Malik ibn Amir. No. Now it's Malik ibn Anas ibn Malik. Oh, Iksan Rahmatullah. Al-Usbuhi. Al-Usbuhi. Al-Usbuhi, Imam Dar al-Hijrah, the Imam of Ahl al-Madinah, or the city of Medina, which everyone knows as Imam Malik. His name was Malik ibn Anas. Just flip the Sahabi. Anas ibn Malik, flip it. You say Malik ibn Anas. Al-Usbuhi, Imam Dar al-Hijrah. طيب, Al-Imam Malik put in his Muwatta, in his book, that the Messenger of Allah ﷺ mentioned and said, "O Allah, do not make my grave an idol worshipped." And the anger of Allah became severe upon the people who took the graves of their prophets as masajid. You'll find that Imam Malik in his book called Muwatta, Al-Muwatta, is from the most authentic of books. It is from those books. They're authentic as far as in the narration. So just listen, everyone. You'll find Imam Malik that he investigated and scrutinized the authenticity of the chains of narrators. Rather, you'll find that his chain is higher than the chains of Bukhari. What do I mean by higher? Meaning it being closer to the Messenger of Allah ﷺ without there being other narrators in between. Meaning there were less narrators. So the isnad, the chain, was closer to the Messenger of Allah because there was less narrators. You understand? So we say that the narrations were higher in Muwatta, meaning there were less middlemen that conveyed the chains. There were less, meaning that there was closer to the Messenger of Allah. So it was less people in the isnad. It was less people in the chain. So it being less, that means that the narrators were what? Closer to the Messenger of Allah of who narrated. So that's the reason why you'll find that from the people of the past that they used to make it their goal to seek something in the mustalah of the hadith or the science of hadith called ulu as-sanad. Ulu as-sanad. What is the meaning? Or they كانوا يطلبون العلو. The ulu as-sanad. That the people that they used to seek in the past, some type of what they call loftiness in the chain or highness in the chain. What do they mean, highness in the chain? Meaning to go directly, to get closer as much as possible, or get close as much as possible to hearing a narration from the Messenger of Allah without a lot of people being in the chain. Meaning they wanted to go directly to the narrator, meaning they tried to skip the middlemen to try to get close as much as possible to the one who heard it from the Messenger of Allah. So you'll find that they used to make it their business to seek ulu in the sanad, in the chain. Meaning that those from the tabi'een, or those from the atba' tabi'een, from their goals they used to set out in their travels, when they used to set out to hear hadith, one of their main goals was to seek ulu was sanad. A highness in the chain, meaning because the closer or the less people in the chain, the higher the chain is, where they can get closer as much as possible of hearing a narration directly to the messenger, directly close to the messenger of Allah ﷺ as much as possible, whether it be from the sahabi or from a tabi'i, but getting close as much as possible without there being a lot of narrators in the chain. You understand, everyone, what I'm saying, or I need to repeat it? Is it clear what I'm saying? So know that for sure when you seek, especially when you study the science of hadith, you know what they call كَانُوا يَطْلُبُونَ الْعُلُوُ, that they used to seek out al-ulu in the chain. The ulu in the chain, meaning highness in the chain, meaning getting close to the Messenger of Allah as much as possible without a lot of middlemen or a lot of narrators in between. So he used to try to get close as much as possible. And that was from their primary goals, especially in seeking out the authentic narrations of the Prophet ﷺ, that they used to seek this, what they call, or this affair called the ulu. The ulu was sanad. So the Imam Malik in his Muwatta, ya ma'ashal ikhwa, that his isnad or his chains was high. When we say high, do we mean authentic? We're here in this particular context, we're speaking that they were closer to the Messenger of Allah ﷺ. They were closer, meaning there were less narrators in the chain, whereas his narrations or his chains were less people in it, whereas it was closer to the Messenger of Allah ﷺ. Is it clear what I'm saying? Tayyib. And that's the reason why you'll find that every time the sanad or the chain was higher, then that was madhinnatu sihha. Then it was more expected that was more authentic, or the authenticity was more probable, and it was closer. As you'll find that Imam Muwatta in his book, it has athar of the Sahaba, no doubt. You'll have a hadith, and you'll find athar, narrations of the companions of the Messenger of Allah likewise. You'll also find speech where Imam Malik even mentioned certain things himself, where he quoted certain things about certain narrations or certain chains or what have you. You'll find that a lot of those from Ahl Ilm even explain Muwatta. They explained it. They explained about his chains. And from the best of those books that were explained the book Muwatta by Imam Malik, from the best of shuruh, the best of commentary, explanations, was a book called Tamheed by Ibn Abdul Barr al-Maghribi. Tamheed, which is a book that no student of knowledge should not have in his library. Rather, he needs that book in his library. By Ibn Abdul Barr, it's called Tamheed, which is an explanation of Al-Muwatta by Imam Malik. And from what I also remember, also Ibn Arabi, Ibn al-Arabi, not Ibn Arabi, Ibn al-Arabi. Ibn Arabi is who the Sufis basically worship. They do worship him. That's who the Sufis want to be like. We're not talking about that Ibn Arabi al-Hatimi al-Ta'i, Imam or Ra'is Wahdatul Wujud. We're not talking about him. He's the head of the one who came with the ideology that Allah is one with the creation and creation is one with Allah. That's Ibn Arabi. We're talking about Ibn al-Arabi, as-Salafi. As-Salafi. There was another Ibn al-Arabi. He was Salafi. You'll find that Sheikh Muhammad Amal Jami said about Ibn al-Arabi, he said, Kan Ibn al-Arabi, he says, Alimun Salafiyun Malikiyun وإن كان لا يخلو من الوقوع في بعض الصفات ولكن لا يعد من المبتدعة. That he said that Ibn al-Arabi, he also explained Muwatta. I have his explanation too. I have it in my library. I have Tamheed, and I also have Ibn Arabi's Sharh, his explanation of Muwatta. But at any rate, Ibn al-Arabi explained Muwatta, and there's a good explanation. It's like an encyclopedia. It's huge. But at any rate, Ibn al-Arabi, Sheikh Muhammad Amal Jami said about him, he said he was alimun, salafiyun, malikiyun. He was Maliki al-Madhab. He was Maliki. He fell into a little bit of some of Ta'wil al-Sifat. He fell into a little bit of false interpretations of some of the characteristics of Allah, but he is not considered from Ahl Bid'ah at all. As we'll discuss that in a minute, inshallah. But Ibn al-Arabi also explained Tamheed, explained Muwatta. That was another explanation of Muwatta. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? From the best of explanations is Tamheed. And from the best of explanations, like we said, from them is what the great Imam Ibn al-Arabi, what he also explained in Muwatta. So separate between Ibn Arabi and Ibn al-Arabi. Taib. So that's just to give a little brief glimpse of what Muwatta by Imam Malik is known for. Taib. Imam Malik that he mentioned in his book, this hadith of the message of Allah, O Allah, do not make my grave an idol worshipped. Do not make my grave an idol worshipped. The message of Allah sought from Allah protection. Protection from the people eventually worshipping his grave. And we talked about before that the message of Allah his dua was answered by Allah Ta'ala. As we know that when he died fi hujrati Aisha, in the house of Aisha radiyallahu anha, and that was the first step for his grave being protected from the people trying to worship it. That was the first step. You'll find that was from the hikmah, the wisdom of Allah, why he preordained that the message of Allah die in the house of Aisha. Because we know the narration that the prophets are buried wherever or in the place where they died in. As we know, that's authentic narration. The prophets and the messengers, they are buried in the places where they died in. And we know that the message of Allah ﷺ died in the house of Aisha. And you see the wisdom of why Allah preordained that the message of Allah died in the house of Aisha, which was the first step for protection of his grave being taken as an idol worshipped. What the message of Allah ﷺ said, اشتد غضب الله. Excuse me, I'm sorry everyone. After he died in the house of Aisha radiyallahu anha, then other measures were taken in order to protect his grave from being worshipped. Other ways of protection for security from him or his grave alayhi salatu wasalam being taken as an idol was when those other walls that were built around it. There were walls not only around the house of Aisha, but they were not only she died in the house, but there were also a fortified type of protection, meaning of walls that were put around the grave as a protection for no one to take the grave of the Messenger of Allah ﷺ as something worshipped or an idol. As Ibn al-Qayyim mentioned in his poetry, فَأَجَابَ رَبُّ الْعَالَمِينَ دُعَاءَهُ فَأَحَاطَهُ بِثَلَاثَةِ الْجُدْرَانِ. As you'll find that the Ibn al-Qayyim mentioned in his book Nuniyah, that he mentioned and said that Allah answered the supplication of his messenger and he protected his grave with 3 walls, meaning as a fortification or protection from the people worshipping the grave of the Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wasalam. Taib. Notice the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that the anger of Allah became severe upon the people who took the graves of these prophets as masajid. This is what we were discussing last class. We said that the characteristics of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala breaks down into 2 categories. We said the first category was sifatu that, the characteristics of Allah's essence. The characteristics of Allah's essence. And you have the second category, which is the characteristics of Allah's actions. You'll find that Al-Imam Al-Hafiz Al-Hakami, that he mentioned in his poetry, where he said, وَكُلُّ مَا جَاءَ فِي الْوَحْيَيْنِ مِنْ صِفَةٍ لِلَّهِ نُثْبِتُهَا وَالنَّصَّ نَعْتَمِدُ صفات ذات وأفعال نمر ولا نقول كيف ولا ننفي كمن جحد لكن على ما بمولانا يليق كما أراده عناه الله نعتقد وفي الشهادة علم القلب مشترط يقينه قد قبول ليس يفتقد إخلاصك الصدق فيها مع محبتها كذا الولاء والبراء فيها لها عمد فيه توالي أولي التقوى وتنصرهم وكل أعدائه إن لهم لعدو. Anyway, it says وكل ما جاء في الوحيين من صفة لله نثبتها والنص نعتمد. everything that comes in the wahyain, meaning that was been related in the Kitaab and Sunnah, from any characteristic that's been affirmed by Allah. The text is what we rely upon. Why? Because anything that's being said about Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala has to be said by a text. If there's no text, if it has not reached you, then the affair is what they call tawqifi. It's tawqifi, meaning a person is not permissible to speak about Allah with your own opinion at all. It's not permissible. Everything is based upon what came in the authentic Sunnah, in the Kitaab, and in the prophetic Sunnah, the message of Allah. The origin of speaking about Allah is what they call tawqifi. Tawqifi meaning it is not permissible for you to talk about Allah, the Creator, with your own opinion, or with your own visions, or with your own opinion, or with your own feelings. It's not permissible. The affair is tawqifi. Tawqifi meaning that it's all based upon clear-cut proofs and evidences that come in the revelation of Kitaab and Sunnah. Hence, it is not permissible to talk about Allah with your own opinion, or with your own feelings, or with your own visions or dreams or what have you. It's not permissible in the religion of Al-Islam. And that's what led the people astray from the past. And to this day, people still talk about Allah based upon their own opinions, or what they feel, or what they see, or what they vision, or what they seen in their dreams, or what have you. All of that is impermissible. Also, likewise, also to add on to that, any affairs of the unseen, is all tawqifi. The affairs of the unseen are all tawqifi. What's tawqifi mean? I mean, it's not permissible for you to talk about those affairs with your own opinion, or your own visions, or your own feelings. The affairs of the unseen are tawqifi, meaning there has to be a text from Kitab and Sunnah that substantiates it or affirms it. Otherwise, it's obligatory for all of us to keep our mouths shut and not to speak upon Allah or about Allah except with knowledge of Kitab and Sunnah and what has been authenticated. طيب. So we said the affair of Allah is tawqifi. كل ما جاء في الوحيين من صفة لله نثبتها والنص نعتمد. For Allah, the text is what we rely upon, and we affirm it for Allah, and the text is our guide. Our guide, I didn't say God, guide. What we rely upon. And the narrations that come, you'll find بالتتبع والاستقراء. But if you look by scrutinizing and investigating the text, you'll find that the characteristics of Allah break down to two categories, which is what, everyone? Sifat that or sifat fi'l. Characteristic of Allah's essence. And the second category is the characteristic of Allah's actions. I gave examples of this in the previous class. For example, the characteristics of Allah's essence, such as aboveness or loftiness or highness of Allah. The ulu of Allah. Allah is always fil a'la. Allah is always above. He is always above the creation. That is His essence. Allah is always above. And He will continue to be above the creation. Why? Because being above the creation shows dominance, sublimity, might, power, completeness. Dominance, power, highness, or aboveness shows this. The ulu of Allah Ta'ala, you'll find all the derivatives of it are used in the Sunnah. For example, that Allah is Ali. You'll find that in Kitab, in Sunnah. Allah is Ali, Allah is A'la, and Allah is Muta'alin. All the derivatives of ulu, of aboveness, Allah says that about Himself in His book. and in the Sunnah. هو العلي هو الأعلى هو المتعالي كل معنى علو الله نعتقد قهرا وقدرا وذاتا جل خالقنا ما حل فينا ولا بالخلق متحد. You'll find that we mentioned and said Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in his book say He is Ali. He is the most high. He is Ali, He is high. And He is A'la, He is the highest. And He's Muta'alin. Muta'alin. He is high above everything. He is the highest, tabaraka wa ta'ala. Allah is above the heavens. This has been affirmed in the Kitaab, in the Sunnah, the Ijma', the consensus of the Sahaba, and in the natural disposition of the human being, and it's also been affirmed by the intellect. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? The aboveness of Allah, tabaraka wa ta'ala, has been affirmed by Kitaab, by the Sunnah, by the Ijma' of the Sahaba, the consensus of the companions of the Messenger of Allah, and also the natural disposition of the human being, if it has not been altered or influenced by some type of misguidance, and it's also been affirmed by the intellect. Meaning, if you was to leave a baby alone in a remote place by himself or herself, and has not been influenced by the satanic ideologies or beliefs of this world, and he left a human being alone and has not been affected or swayed by anything or any outside influence of this world, of idol worship or satanic worship or anything that alters its natural disposition, and it grew up and it was raised in that state, protected from any outside influence, it will automatically, naturally affirm there's a deity worthy of worship, that there's a God who is Allah, one deity, naturally. And it would direct its worship towards Him, and it will also turn above. It would turn his worship to what's above him, naturally. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Naturally. The characteristics of Allah's essence, such as aboveness or highness or loftiness, such as from his characteristics of his essence, Allah Ta'ala is Sami', all hearing. From his essence, all seeing. From his essence, all capable, all aware, all knowledgeable, all wise, and goes on and on and on. You understand, everyone? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hears everything simultaneously. Everything. There's nothing that escapes his knowledge at all. Whether it be under this rug or this carpet with bugs running under it, bugs or insects under it, or whether it be from what we do, what we see in front of us, and what our sights and our ears stop at. Naturally, you'll find that the human being's eyes and their sight are been bounded to a certain distance. That's what you see right now. Your eyes go to a certain that goes to a certain boundary and it stops. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees everything in the heavens and earth simultaneously at the same time. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hears everything at the same time. Nothing escapes him of his knowledge. لا يعزب عنه مثقال ذرة في السماوات وما في الأرض. You'll find that Allah Ta'ala says in his book, nothing escapes him of an atom's weight of the heavens and that which is in the heavens and earth. Nothing escapes him. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? From the Allah Ta'ala's essence is his knowledge, his awareness, his hearing, his seeing, also his ability, also what Allah intends, that's from his essence, irada. Also life is from his essence. Life is from the essence or the characteristics of his essence. Life, everlasting life. Awareness, full knowledge. Rather, you'll find that the knowledge of Allah Ta'ala is complete in every aspect. For verily Allah Ta'ala understands everything. He's full aware of everything. You'll find that Shaykh al-Islam Taymiyyah says, look to how powerful Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, where He understands the languages of everyone at the same time. That He understands the languages of the people at the same time, and He understands and knows, and He has full aware of their knowledge of what they ask for, depending where they are and what their languages are. Allah Ta'ala has full knowledge of it. Allah Ta'ala has knowledge of every strand of grass outside, strand by strand, in detail. Allah Ta'ala has full awareness of every leaf that falls off every tree in this dunya. He has absolute full awareness in detail. Allah Ta'ala mentions that in His book, that everything you see of vegetation and crops, He has details and full awareness and knowledge of it in detail. Can you imagine every strand of grass out here that you see? One strand per other strand, Allah has full knowledge of it in detail. Allah mentions this in His book in the same context to say, is there any one of those deities who you worship besides Him that has knowledge like this? None of them do. So why would you worship them? Rather worship the one who has full awareness and knowledge of all what we just mentioned. For verily the righteous, whether it be from the prophets, none of them have knowledge of full strands of everything that we just mentioned, of the trees and the crops and the grass and the insects. And you'll find that no one in the heavens and the earth has awareness under the rug, under the tree, of the insects and what's going on inside of our bodies, even though we're not even aware what goes on inside of our own bodies. Allah has knowledge of that. Nothing of any deity or idol or anything that is worshipped along with Allah has knowledge like that. None of them. So if that's the case, where Allah is at this level, so why do you worship other than Him? The great prophets and messengers, Jesus the son of Mary, does He know what's going on inside of our bodies at this moment in time? No. Does He have knowledge of what's going on with every strand of grass and every strand of plant, of every strand of leaf that's falling off of every strand and every tree in this world? Does He have knowledge of that? No. So why not worship the one who has full knowledge of all of these affairs? That only makes sense. And that's what is true and what's the truth. So the characteristics of Allah Ta'ala's essence is, like we just mentioned, we gave examples of. Which is what, everyone? Give me the example. Such as what? Sight, hearing, knowledge, life, wisdom, awareness, ability, ahsant, power, ahsant, qahr, ahsant, jayyid, speech also, dominance, completeness in every aspect. Completeness is not an aspect, it was a kamal. Taib, we said life. Jayyid. The second category of Allah's characteristics is af'al, sifatul fi'l. The characteristic of Allah is what? Action, such as Jayyid, creation. Even though there's some details in it, but Jayyid, that's good. The anger of Allah, ahsant. The wrath of Allah, the laughter of Allah, Ta'ala. Now we know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala laughs. Dissension. Ascension, dissension, to grab, to take. Mercy, Jayyid. Coming on the day of resurrection, Jayyid. Say it again. The hatred of Allah, the anger of Allah, sent. All these are the characteristics of Allah Ta'ala's actions. These are part of His actions. The actions of Allah Ta'ala, if you just said sifatun fi'liya or sifatu fi'l, the characteristic of Allah's actions, and you just mentioned that and stopped there, that would suffice. You'll find that some of Ahl Ilm call the actions of Allah ikhtiyariya, voluntary. Actions that are voluntary. or the characteristics of Allah's essence that are voluntary. What do you mean voluntary? Meaning that Allah Ta'ala is the one that does the action, that He is the one that has total control over it. And there's no such thing as involuntary actions of Allah. It doesn't exist. You understand what I'm saying, everyone? As that is in regards to the human being. The human being breaks down into two types of actions. He has voluntary actions, and the human being has involuntary actions. Meaning there are movements in your body that takes place without you controlling it. Such as your heart. Such as your heart beating, or the pulses in your wrist, or your pulse beating in your hand. And certain things that move around in your body, in the stomach, or what have you. And the beating of the heart, and the beating of the pulse. Do you control that? That's called involuntary. That's only for the creation, not for the creator. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? For all the actions of Allah Ta'ala are ikhtiyari. They are all voluntary, meaning He has total control over it. Ta'ala. He does it when He wills, how He wills, when He wills, if He wills. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Allah does an action if He wills, how He wills, when He wills, if He wills. Is it clear what I'm saying? طيب. Allah Ta'ala, we know, created the heavens and the earth and that which is between it. Then He ascended above the Arsh. He ascended above the throne. Keep it. All the actions of Allah Ta'ala, as we mentioned and said, are connected to His will. يَتَعَلَّقُ بِهَا مَشِيئَتُهُ وَقُدْرَتُهُ. All the actions of Allah are connected with His will and His ability. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Why when we say, what do we mean when we say it's connected with His will? I just said it. Just give you an example of it. If Allah, for example, Allah descends in the third part of the night, in which the message of Allah ﷺ mentioned, and that hadith is mutawatir. It's in the Sahihain. It's in Bukhari and Muslim. That Allah descends in the third last part of the night is the message of Allah is informed about Allah. In which Allah Ta'ala Himself says, هَلْ مُسْتَغْفِرٍ فَأَغْفِرَ اللَّهِ هَلْ مِنْ سَائِلٍ فَأُعْطِيَهُ فَهَلْ مِنْ دَاعٍ فَأَسْتَجِيبَ لَهُ. Is there a person that will seek my forgiveness? I'll forgive him. Is there a person that will ask me and I will grant him what he asks or his request? And there's a person that supplicates to me so I can answer his supplication. The message of Allah gave a time when that happens. The message of Allah said, يَحْصُلُ فِي الثُّلُثِ اللَّيْلِ الْآخِرِ مِنْ كُلِّ لَيْلَةٍ. The message of Allah clarified that happens at a specific time, the third part of the night. Then the message of Allah said that it stops once the time of Fajr, once it comes in for the Salat. Then, like we said, then that nuzul, or that descension that takes place in the third part of the night. And then we say that Allah Ta'ala, that He did that action when He willed, how He willed, and the time He willed. Then it happens again on the following night. When the third part of the night, which is the last part of the night, Allah descends in a manner that befits Him. Allah Ta'ala also descends fi ashiyati Arafah, on the day of Arafah, which is Hajj, which is around the corner, which is in a couple of weeks. That the message of Allah said that Allah Ta'ala descends on the afternoon on the outer day of Arafah. That shows that Allah does an action, fi'lun fa'alahu Allah, that Allah Ta'ala descends. He descends how He wills, when He wills, in the manner He wills, if He wills. Tabaraka wa ta'ala. طيب. All the actions of Allah Ta'ala are connected with His will and His ability. Tabaraka wa ta'ala. It's connected with His will. It's connected to His ability. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's ability is not connected. And I want you guys to pay attention to this and stop leaning back, because this is very important. You have to get a chair. If you can find one, if you can. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's ability is not connected with things that are impossible. What do we mean impossible? Meaning that if Allah tabarak wa ta'ala, if it was a reality, it would necessitate that he has a deficiency. What do we mean by that? What do we mean by that? Start before all that. For example, Allah having a partner or one worshiping other than him, or having a partner in this existence. Meaning that he has another deity along with him. Because if it was another deity, it would necessitate that Allah needs help, which is a deficiency, and it does not befit the Creator. And that we say, okay, because certain people have been inspired by shaitan to say certain statements, such as, can Allah create another deity? Or can Allah create someone similar to him? Can Allah create a son? We say these affairs are not connected with his ability because it necessitates a deficiency. It necessitates a deficiency. If there will have to be a deity, that's the reason why Allah Ta'ala says in his book, he says, for one ayah we could say, he says that Allah has no zahir and he has no mu'een. He has no aider, no one to aid him in running this existence, and he doesn't need any helper. Doesn't need anyone or anything. Allah is ghani. He has the characteristic in his essence which is called self-sufficiency and independency, totally and complete in every aspect. Allah is self-sufficient, totally independent. An affair of need contradicts that characteristic and opposes it. Tayyib. Allah Ta'ala, in regards to that we said, for example, asking whether or not Allah can create, for example, children, also falls under the category of need. A person, a human being, needs children to keep his lineage going, to keep his family going, to keep his family tree going, to keep his progeny going, and to keep his family and him in the existence of human beings on the earth. Human beings need the children. The Creator does not need anything. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Human beings need children. Allah Ta'ala does not need anything. So a person would say to you, there's the Creator. You can't say Allah can't have a son. Allah can't have a wife. Can Allah eat? Can Allah sleep? Can Allah defecate? That's the same thing. We say all these affairs are not connected to his ability because it necessitates a deficiency. And these affairs does not befit the all-perfect Creator. Because eating is a deficiency in regards to the Creator. Food and defecation is a deficiency in regards to the Creator. Having a son or a child is a deficiency in regards to the Creator. Having a partner in the deity to help run this existence or govern this existence or administrate this existence is a deficiency in regards to the Creator, and it does not befit the Creator because it's a deficiency. And it does not befit him being a ilah, a deity. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions all of this in the Quran. He mentions all of these, that all these affairs are negated from him because they necessitate a deficiency and some type of incompleteness in regards to him ta'ala. As Allah Ta'ala says in his book, in one ayah, لو كان فيهما آلهة إلا الله لفسدتا. There's another ayah where Allah Ta'ala says, وَلَعَلَى بَعْتُهُمْ عَلَى بَعْضٍ. He says, if there was other deities in these heavens and the earth that were other than Allah, they will all be corrupted. They will be corrupt. One, and it says, in another ayah, إِذَا لَذَهَبَ كُلُّ إِلَهٍ بِمَا خَلَقٍ وَلَعَلَى بَعْتُهُمْ عَلَى بَعْضٍ. He said that there was other deities where they worship in this existence. And this is what Allah is saying in his book. He said each one would go off on their own with their own kingdom, branching off, and they would try to fight and dominate one another. Your father Ibn Kathir said this is called Dalil al-Tamanu'. He says one fighting the other necessitates that both have some type of incapability. where they have some deficiency of being a deity. How can one fight the other when one created the other? So that means there's some type of deficiency. That's the reason why Allah negated this, that there's no deity other than Him in this existence. Except that each one would try to go off, creating its own kingdom, and one would try to override the other. And as far as in their commands of what one wants to decree, I want that one to die. No, I want that one to stay alive. And I want that one to be tested. And I want that one to be relieved. And it would be chaos. In regards to that, Ibn Kathir mentions, you see that this existence is mutanasik, or is munassak, is in order. Everything is properly in order and been properly determined, whether you realize it or not. Everything in our lives happened for a reason. And I'm sure certain people see not only things now, but later on they'll be like, oh, I'm see why that happened. Because there was a creator behind it that predetermined it to happen that way. And that was all from Him alone that predetermined it. And if there was another deity other than Allah, there would be chaos. And everything would be in disarray, in disorder, and it would be in chaos. That's why Ibn Kathir called it Dalil al-Tamanu'. At any rate, you guys sidetrack me. So that's what we say in regards to what we say. These affairs for a person satanic, the shaitan is inspired, will come to you. So you mean to tell me that Allah or God can't have children? We say these affairs are not connected to His ability because it necessitates a deficiency. And these affairs do not befit the Creator, who is all perfect and all complete in every aspect. It's just like saying to me, can God eat? Can God sleep? We don't say it's impossible for Allah. We don't say that because we have respect in what we say in regards to our Lord. But we say these affairs are not connected with His what? Ability, because it necessitates what? A need. A need is a what? Deficiency in regards to the Creator. You understand, everyone? Whether it be a partner, whether it be a female, a person might say, can God have a wife? We say that these affairs is not connected to His ability because it necessitates a need, deficiency. Allah does not have a characteristic of hajj, of need. Tayyib. Let's go back to what Imam Malik ibn Anas says about these characteristics. All of them are the same in regards to what you'll find at the end of the same natija, and the same in regards to the same answer you'll get and the same results. Allah is above. How is Allah above? Imam Malik was asked this question. I'll just say Allah Ta'ala descends. How does Allah descend? Imam Malik answered by saying this: the descension of Allah is known. How Allah descends is not known. Faith in it is obligatory. To ask about it is bid'ah, is innovation. The laughter of Allah is known. How Allah laughs, not known. Faith in it is wajib. To ask about bid'ah. The anger of Allah is known. How Allah becomes angry, not known. Faith in it, asking about it. The aboveness of Allah or the loveliness of Allah is known. How the highness of Allah is not known. Faith in it, ask about it. Tayyib. A person would say, Allah Ta'ala, how can we say, and a person can fathom the essence of Allah Ta'ala? You can't fathom His essence. It's too great beyond the capacity of the mind. Just as your eyesight has been bounded and your knowledge has been bounded, and you see that your eyesight and your ears have been bounded to a certain level and a certain extent, how in the world can you think you can understand something that can hear everything in the heavens and the earth simultaneously? That's in regards to His characteristics. Allah Ta'ala can anyone imagine right now someone that can hear everything at the same time and understand everything at the same time? put that in your mind, you can't even understand it or comprehend it. Something that can see everything at the same time. That's Allah's characteristics. If you think you cannot comprehend His characteristics, then how can you think you can comprehend His essence? When you cannot comprehend His characteristics, you cannot comprehend in your mind something that can simultaneously hear everything at the same time. Tabaraka wa ta'ala. Something that can hear everything at the same time. Tabaraka wa ta'ala. Something that had full knowledge of everything. Tabaraka wa ta'ala. There's nothing that the mind can come to comprehend His characteristics. How in the world can you comprehend His essence? Subhanahu wa ta'ala wa taqaddas. Tanazzah. How in the world can you think you can comprehend His characteristics, tabaraka wa ta'ala, His essence, if you cannot comprehend His characteristics? The qa'idah of Ahl Sunnah is Al-Kalam fi Sifat Far'un an al-Kalami fi Dhat Yahdhu Hadwa. That's the qa'idah of Ahl Sunnah. Memorize it. The character Kalam fi Sifat Far'un an al-Kalami fi Dhat Yahdhu Hadwa. The cat speaking about to speak about Allah's characteristics is a branch of speaking about His essence. They emulate each other. That's a qa'idah wa Ahl Sunnah fi bab al-asma wa sifat. Memorize it. Al-kalam fi sifat far'un an al-kalami fi dhat yahdhu hadwa. Al-kalam fi sifat, speak in the speech about his characteristics, as a branch of speaking about His essence. They emulate each other. Meaning, how is it that you can comprehend, just as Allah Ta'ala, His characteristics, you cannot fathom them. You cannot begin to comprehend, like we said, something that can see everything, hear everything, has full awareness of everything, knowledge of everything. You cannot comprehend his characteristics. Something that has knowledge, full of knowledge of everything in the heavens and the earth, full absolute knowledge, and full awareness of everything in the heavens and the earth and how vast it is. How in the world can you start to think you can fathom His essence? That's the meaning of the qa'idah, of the principle, everyone. You understand? Speaking about you can't comprehend His characteristics, how do you think you can comprehend His essence? How? Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? How in the world can you begin to think that you're able to comprehend the aboveness of Allah or the descension of Allah? Or that Allah coming on the day of resurrection? You can't even comprehend His characteristics. How you can think you can comprehend His essence? Subhanahu wa ta'ala. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? I'll say the qa'idah again. Al-kalam fi sifat far'un an al-kalami fi dhat yahdhu hadwa. Speaking about the characteristics as a branch of speaking about His essence, they emulate each other. Yahdhu hadwa. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Is it clear or is it not clear? Tayyib. If that's the case in regards to the sifat dhati of Allah Ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created things of the creation that we cannot understand, how they function. From those things that are beyond our comprehension, which is created, and it's a great creation, that we don't understand, is our souls. Our souls and our bodies is a bewildering creation that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made the essence of life, that if it departs from the body, life is gone. You're dead. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made the soul, put it in the body. It was put in the body, and that is a bewildering creation, the soul. You'll find that Ibn al-Qayyim talks about the bewilderment of the soul, and how the soul and how bewildering it is. And from it is that the soul, every time when you are asleep, you are deaf. When you're asleep, you're in a minor state of death. You're not fully dead. You're in a minor state of death when you're asleep. You're in a minor state of death. Tayyib, the soul, when you go to sleep, leaves your body. It leaves it, and at the same time, it's still connected to it. The soul leaves the body, and it's still at the same time, it's still connected to it. Allah Ta'ala, in certain instances, takes the souls of certain human beings, and He doesn't send them back to the body. That's when you will find in which the people die in their sleep, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took their soul while they were asleep, because the soul did not return back to the body. Certain people, when they wake up, Allah, in His pre-divine decree, sends the soul back to the body, and you're able to live another day. That happens every time you go to sleep. What is the dalil for Kitaab and Sunnah in that? The dalil for Kitaab and Sunnah is in the ayah, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in His book, Allahu yatawaffa al-anfus hina mawtiha wallati lam tamut fi manamiha fayumsiku allati qada alayha al-maut wa yursilu al-ukhra ila ajl musamma. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in His book, Allah takes the souls, yatawaffa al-anfus hina mawtiha. Allah takes the souls at the appointed time when they're supposed to die. And some at the time when they go to sleep. So Allah says, يَتَوَفَّى الْأَنفُسِ حِينَ مَوْتِهَا وَالَّتِي لَمْ تَمُتْ فِي مَنَامِهَا فِي نَوْمِهَا. That those souls that did not die in their sleep, meaning He sends the souls back. Now listen to the ayah. فَيُمْسِكُ الَّتِي قَضَى عَلَيْهَا الْمَوْتِ. He holds on to the souls that has been preordained for them to die, and He sends others back to an appointed time. So your soul leaves the body. At the same time, it's still connected. Certain people, Allah keeps the soul. Some of them, Allah sends back, and you live another day. Tayyib, that shows that the soul does bewildering things that your mind cannot what? Comprehend. If that's something Allah created, and it does this, how in the world do you think that it's impossible for Allah Ta'ala has certain characteristics that you can begin to understand and fathom how Allah does it? It is way beyond the comprehension of the human being when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created bewildering things of the creation that we cannot comprehend and understand. It's way beyond our comprehension. And Allah created it. It's a creation, it's a makhluk. And from them is the ruh, is the soul. The soul of the human being is bewildering. It's astonishing. In which you'll find that Shaykh al-Islam even mentioned, Ibn al-Qayyim mentioned about the ruh, and how bewildering and astonishing of its creation, how strange it is. And that how it departs and leaves our body from the final major death. That our soul departs and leaves. And then Allah sends it back again. And then it's put in the grave until another point in time. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Tayyib. So how in the world can you begin to think? You can begin to think, you can comprehend the descension of Allah. After all we just mentioned. Or the ascension of Allah. Or the descension of Allah. Or the coming of Allah on the day of resurrection. Or Allah Ta'ala giving. Or Allah taking the sadaqat. Or putting the heavens and the earth upon the finger in which the message of Allah described on the day of resurrection. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? طيب. In regards to the sifat al-af'al, Allah Ta'ala's actions, they are connected with His what? His will and His what? Ability. Keep that in mind. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? It's connected with His will and it's connected to His what? His ability. You have that? All the actions of Allah are connected to His will. And we say that all of them happen from one time to the next. They happen from one time to the next. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? They happen, the actions of Allah happens from one time to the next. Right now, Allah Ta'ala is saying He's going to come on the day of resurrection. Did it happen yet? No. It happens when the day when Allah will establish the day of resurrection, then He comes. It will happen at a certain time, which is the day of resurrection. All of what I'm saying is clear, it makes sense. Any human person that says, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, how it happened on the day of resurrection. Yeah, it's clear. What's confusing is what the people bid'ah say. They say, no, Allah already underdone it. He does it all at the same time. That's confusing. When you hear stuff like that, you're like, huh? That's confusing. When you say that Allah did not come yet, He will come when the day of resurrection is established, then Allah will come and judge between the creation. It's clear as the sun in the sky. You understand, everyone? For example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not talk or speak to Musa until Musa met him at that particular time and particular place. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَلَمَّا جَاءَ مُوسَى لِمِيقَاتِنَا وَكَلَّمَهُ رَبُّهُ. That when, it says when, it says clearly in the ayah, when is this necessitates what everyone? A time, when it happened. When Musa came to our appointed time and our appointed place, and your Lord spoke to him. That did not happen before that. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? It's clear as the sun in the sky. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not make the most important affairs, which is the aqidah, to be the most hardest to understand. The people of bid'ah made that difficult. You understand, everyone? The most important of affairs where everyone is supposed to know, Allah made them the most easiest to understand. He made them easy for the one to understand. These affairs are easy. Once you hear it, Allah is above. Khalas. That makes sense. Allah did not speak to Musa until He met him at that particular time, that particular place. That's clear. Allah will not come until the day of resurrection is established, then He will come and judge between the creation. Clear as the sun in the sky. You understand, everyone? So that's when we say that Allah descends at the third part of the night. Prophet ﷺ said the time when it happens, when, everyone? Third part of the night. Did it happen before that? No, it did not. It did not happen until the message of Allah made it clear when it happened, which is where, everyone? The third part of the night. It's clear as the sun in the sky. We don't have to go beyond. No. It means His mercy that descends. The mercy of Allah Ta'ala descends in the day and the night. You understand, everyone? For people that say, no, Allah doesn't descend, it's His mercy that descends. That doesn't mean Allah descends. And the refutation to that, Allah's mercy descends all night and all day. The message of Allah said that this happens in the third part of the night. No. So then they try to say, no, it's not His mercy. Okay, we get it. It's not His mercy. It means His command. The command of Allah descends all night and all day. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? No. It's not Allah. It's not Allah. It's the angels. It's the angels. It's the angels that descend. It's His angels. It's the angels. The angels descend in the night and the day. As it comes in the Sahihain, which is in Bukhari upon Abu Hurairah. Says that the angels gather in the time of Fajr and the time of Asr. So you have nowhere to run, except you have to say it's Allah that descends. You understand? Tafadal, I'm sorry, Amir. You want to call the name? Tafadal. Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar. جيد. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله. ولا قوة إلا بالله. ولا قوة إلا بالله. اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آتي محمد الوسيلة والفضيلة وبعث مقام محمود الذي وعده. طيب. In regards to the anger of Allah Ta'ala, as it comes in the narration in your books, it says it here, اشتد غضب الله على قوم. The anger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala became severe upon the people who took the graves of their prophets as masajid. They took the graves of the prophets as masajid. This is a clear indication that Allah hates certain affairs. Allah Ta'ala loves certain things, and He hates certain things. He hates, for example, Allah loves iman, Allah loves ta'ah, Allah loves obedience. Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala loves the mu'mineen. He loves the people of iman. He loves uprightness. He loves obedience. He loves the people to hold on to the sunnah. Allah Ta'ala loves uprightness. All these affairs. The awliya of Allah, uprightness, and those who are upright. And similar to that which is opposite. Allah Ta'ala hates. He hates disbelief. He hates kufr. He hates bid'ah. He hates innovations. He hates disbelief. He hates disobedience. He hates sins. And He hates its people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hates certain affairs. He hates oppressors, and He hates oppression. All these affairs are mentioned in the book of Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُحِبُّ الْكَافِرِينَ لَا يُحِبُّ الظَّالِمِينَ. You understand, everyone? Allah does not love the kafirin. Allah does not love the disbelievers. Allah does not love, He does not love the of kufr. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in His book, وَلَا يَرْضَى لِعِبَادِهِ الْكُفْرِ. He is not pleased for His ibad kufr. It was not pleased mean, everyone, that he hates certain affairs. You understand what I'm saying, everyone? That Allah hates certain affairs, and He hates certain things, and He hates its people. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? طيب, it's clear. As soon as you hear it, clear. طيب. You'll find that the Asha'ira, as we talked about, that they mentioned to say, no, it does not mean the anger of Allah. It means the anger of Allah. We don't affirm that. That's what they say. The Asha'ira. You'll find that they say that the anger of Allah means إرادة الانتقام. عند إرادة الانتقام. They say that the anger of Allah, or the wrath of Allah, or the anger of Allah, or the hatred of Allah, they say that it means this, the Asha'ira, they say that it means what Allah wants in regards to retribution. Meaning, when Allah wants to punish. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? It says iradat al-intiqam. Intiqam means retribution. To take retribution from someone. That's what they say. So they say the anger of Allah doesn't mean the anger of Allah. Rather, it means what Allah wants to take a retribution from a person, whereas He will punish him. Is that correct? We said no. Ahlus Sunnah affirms the characteristic, and they also affirm its what? Its result, its effect, or its result at the end. Separate between the two, everyone. The Asha'ira play games. They play word games. They say it doesn't mean the anger of Allah. So they affirm the characteristic. Number one, they remove it. They say it means another. So they took a characteristic of Allah's action, which is what? Anger. And they replaced it with Allah's, one of his characteristics of his essence, which is irada. What is irada? What Allah intends. That's what they do with all these characteristics that I just mentioned, such as anger, wrath, hatred, or Allah detesting or hating, love, mercy, and being pleased. They say that all these characteristics means irada, what Allah intends. Intending as far as what? Or what Allah wants or intends. Depending on which characteristic, one means what Allah intends in punishment or intends of reward. Is it clear what I'm saying? That's what the Asha'ira said. Is it correct? Is it correct or not? To say that these characteristics of Allah's actions, and to say all of them are basically going back to one characteristic, which is sifatul irada, characteristic of Allah's irada, of what he intends, is that correct? Not correct. You understand, everyone? Is it clear what I'm saying? Taib, you ask the Asha'ira and the people of the day, why don't you affirm that Allah becomes angry? Why? I told everyone this in the last class. This is the reason why they say this. Because anger means the boiling of one's blood and its emotions, infi'alat nafsiyah, emotions, which also causes one's blood to rise and to boil within the heart of a person. And we say what, everyone? That's, you just applied the definition of the creation, not the creator. Like we said, every time you'll find that I've not met any person of this type of deviance, except that they say the exact same thing. And any characteristic of Allah, what they negate, or what they twist the meaning of. They'll say, how can you say Allah is above? How can you say Allah is above? When the creator, how can you say the creator sits on a chair or sits on a throne? He's sitting on the throne, that's for who? For the creation, not the creator. Allah has created things that are with us constantly and does not sit in this above, such as the sun, such as the moon. Everywhere you go, it's with you, and it's above, and it doesn't sit on anything. That's something Allah created. How you think that that's far off for the one who created it? That he cannot be above it at the same time does not necessitate sitting. That's for the creation, not the creator. Every person that I've known that says this, all do this. There's not one person that falls into negating these characteristics except that they all say the exact same thing. They all resemble and then they negate. And then they try to make you apply it to you by saying, you believe Allah is above? Yeah. So how can you believe that Allah sits on the throne? I didn't say that, you said it. Just because Allah is above does not mean that he needs anything or that he sits on anything. That's what you say, not Ahlul Sunnah. You understand, everyone? You understand, everyone? Tayyib. There's like I said, everyone before, there are things that Allah has created that has characteristics of what we know, of what we know, as far as the general meaning. And you'll find that in those creation, it does not resemble us, even though it does not have the same needs that we have for our characteristics. What do I mean by that? In order for a person to have, or for a person to have the characteristic of speech, the human being needs a tongue, teeth, blood, a mouth, and lips to speak. Right or wrong? It's correct. That's what the human being comprises of. Comprises of, to have the characteristic of speech, lips, teeth, blood, skin, a mouth, to the end of it. That's what the creation needs to have that characteristic. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created things of the creation that can speak. And it does not have any of these needs that the human being has to have that characteristic. Such as, like we talked about, what comes in the authentic sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, which comes in the Sahihain, when the Messenger of Allah passed by a rock that gave him salams. A rock. When do we know a rock to have lips, teeth, blood, bones, a mouth, in order to have the characteristic of speech? It doesn't. And despite of that, the rock spoke. That's something Allah created. So how could you find it far off that Allah can have the same characteristic for speech and still not have the same needs, rather not have the lawazim at all, in which the creation needs in order to what? Have the characteristics. This is another principle that you have to have memorized. Memorize this with your molar teeth. Hold on to this to your molar teeth and memorize it like your name. لوازم صفات المخلوق لا تلزم صفات الخالق. Have that memorized. The characteristic of the lawazim, what the creation needs for its characteristics, does not necessitate that Allah has those needs at all for his characteristics. The characteristics of the human being, they need certain things to have certain characteristics. They're the ones that need blood in order to become angry. And the heart and the blood and it boils to their temper becomes a certain way. That's for the human beings, not for the creator. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? لوازم صفات المخلوق لا تستلزم صفات الخالق. The needs of the creation for their characteristics, Allah does not have those needs for his characteristics. Is it clear what I'm saying? Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? The needs of what the characteristic or the creation needs for its characteristics, Allah does not have those needs for his characteristics. Allah does not have those needs for his characteristics. Allah does not need anything to have his characteristics. Allah created, like we said, things from the creation that has the characteristics of certain affairs, and it does not have what the human being has, and it still had that characteristic. Such as what? Like I just gave an example. Such as what, everyone? Speech. The message of Allah that comes in the Sahihain said that we used to hear the food in his hand talking and making tasbih. When do we know food to have any type of lips or mouth or anything? And it still had the characteristic of what? Speech. That's what something Allah created. Something that's food had a characteristic of speech. And it didn't even have the needs of the human being to have the characteristic of speech. And that's created. What about the creator? Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Is it clear? That's a qaida where Ahl Sunnah memorize it. صفات لوازم صفات المخلوق لا تستلزم صفات الخالق. The needs of what the creation needs for its the needs that the creation has for its characteristics does not necessitate that the creator has those needs for his characteristics. Memorize that principle, and you'll be able to defend yourself from any type of ambiguity that the people of innovations or the people of confusion will come to you with. For example, what I just said. They say, no, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not above the heavens. For verily Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala my Lord doesn't sit on anything. What did you just do? First of all, you fell into resembling. What you're trying so hard to flee away from, you fell into it. That's why you negated it. And then you want to try to now apply that on me by saying you believe Allah is above the heavens. I don't believe my Lord sits on anything. I never said Allah sits. You said it. So what you're trying to now flee away from, which is resemblance, you fell into it. That's why you negated it. Just because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is a perfect example of the qa'idah I just gave to you, the principle I just gave to everyone. What the creation needs for its characteristics does not necessitate that Allah has those needs for its characteristics, such as aboveness. For example, Allah has created things from the creation that are above us and that are constantly with us, and it's not sitting on anything, such as the sun, the moon. Everywhere you go, it's with you. Does it sit on anything and it's still above you? Does it sit on anything? La. It's above you, isn't it? Everywhere you go, it's what? It's with you. So there are things from the creation that did not have the needs of the creation to have certain what? Characteristics, and Allah created it. How can you find that far off from the Creator? Brothers and sisters, just because Allah is above the throne does not mean He needs it. Allah does not need anything He created. He doesn't need anything. Allah is above the Arsh for wisdom in which He knows we do not know. You'll find that what? Allah Ta'ala wa Ahl Ilm mentions, such as Imam At-Tahawi. Imam At-Tahawi, he mentioned Aqidat At-Tahawiyya. He mentioned and said, just because Allah is above the Arsh, Allah does not need the Arsh at all. He does not need the throne. You understand, everyone? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not need anything. He does not need the angels. He does not need the throne. He does not need the kursi. He does not need anything. Allah is free of any dependency of anything He created. He does not need it. He does not need anything. Rather, لا تشوبه شائبة الحاجة أصلا. Rather, the characteristic of need is negated from Allah because it's deficiency. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? After Allah created the heavens and the earth and that which is between it, His infinite wisdom necessitates to particularize the Arsh with His aboveness, and He's above the Arsh, and just because He's above it does not mean that He what? Sits on it or He needs it. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Jayyid? Tayyib. Rather, Allah Ta'ala is bigger than everything. Allah is akbar min kulli shay. Allah is bigger than everything. So if a person now says to you, for example, that the Sha'ira from the people of Ahl Bid'ah, they will say to you, for example, oh Allah, I don't believe Allah is above the heavens. Tell you why? I don't believe that Allah will be in the heavens, because the heavens is saying that my Lord is been constricted by the directions of everything around Him. So now He's been what? Compromised, or He's been confined to where all the distances around Him confined Him to a certain place. Tayyib, as far as something being confined to a certain place, that's for the creation, not for the Creator. First of all, and I'm going to talk about this later, the words jiha, direction, side, place, body, movement, were all words that the people of falsehood came with to cause confusion with Ahl Sunnah, so they can have doubt in their aqidah. So they can have doubt in their belief system. Ahl Sunnah never used those words. The people of Bid'ah came with that to use it as an argument to cast doubt in you. They came with those words. You believe Allah is in a place? It's a trick question. First of all, you would say, in regards to the word, in regards to Allah, we do not use the word place. That's number one. That was a word that was invented by you guys, and you tried to use it against us. The word place was not used in the Kitaab and Sunnah. That's number one. Number two, what do you mean by the word place? Because place can necessitate falsehood and it can necessitate truth. Which one are you talking about? As far as the false meaning is the meaning that you just said, Asha'ira, which is Allah being confined, whereas all the directions are confining him. Where he's now madhroof fi jawfi sama, as they say. That he's been confined in the middle, in the sky. That falsehood or that meaning of place we reject. But we affirm there's another true meaning of the word place, which is something that is above and it's bigger than everything. And nothing contains him or confines him. Rather, he encompasses everything. That meaning we affirm. If that which is what you intend by place, that's how you need to answer. You understand? It's a trick question. Do you believe Allah's in a place? It's a trick question. First of all, the word makan, not makana, makan, was a word that was used and derived from Ahl al-Bid'ah. They started it because it was a word that brings confusion. We stick to the alfaz shar'iyya, which comes in Kitaab al-Sunnah. Allah is above the heavens. Allah is above the arsh. Allah is above the seven heavens. He's above the throne. He's above the arsh. His arsh is above the water. You understand, everyone? Ahl al-Bid'ah came to cause confusion. So they said, let's come with some confusing words. Allah. So you'll find them say, for example, because their idea of praise is negation. Negation, negation, negation. Without any affirmation, negation. Everything's negation with them. Where you say, for example, Allah, you're not above. Allah, you're not above the arsh. Allah, you're not a body. Allah, you're not in the place. Allah, you're not in the direction. Allah, which is something that if you truly understand the fiqh of this type of praise, it will make you see your skin crawl. It's just like, for example, Sheikh Muhammad Aman al-Jami used to say this. It's just like a person says to you, walks up to you and says, left, right now, if you wanted to praise somebody you respected, like a person, let's just say a person is a king or someone in high esteem with you, and you walked up to him and you want to praise him. So, for example, a person in high esteem you respect, and you said to him, you're not a trash man, you're not a plumber, you're not a plumber, you're not a sweeper in the street, you're not a trash man, you're not a you're not a janitor. I think that the person who you respect would be like, what kind of praise are you making mockery of me or what? But if you said to me, if you said to the king, you're the power and dominant of everything, you're above everything, you're sublime, you have every characteristic that you described about yourself, that's praise. You're all wise, you're all intelligent, you're above everything. That's praise. But if you said to him, you're not a janitor, you're not a plumber, you're not a trash man, you would think that there's mockery. And the person that your so-called respect would think you're trying to make mockery of him. Like, what kind of praise is this? That's the type of praise of these people. When they say, oh Allah, you're not a body, oh Allah, you're not in a place, oh Allah, you don't have this. It's absolute nonsense. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Anta lasta bi sabbak, anta lasta bi zabbal. You're not a trash pan. You're not a person that sweeps up the trash and puts it in the garbage. It's nonsense. You understand what I'm saying, everyone? Tayyib. So that's when they use the word place or body. This is how you have to answer it. Just how I just said. What do you mean by place? What do you mean by direction? What do you mean by body? All these are words that were brought from the people of falsehood to cause confusion, to cause some doubt in which you're upon in your aqeedah. Because it's a trick question. You believe Allah has a body? It's a trick question. And I'll teach you how to refute that later. I just gave you an example as far as makan, place. It's the same answer. You will say, as far as in regards to the word body, we do not use the word body in regards to Allah. That's number one. Because that never been affirmed in Kitaab and Sunnah. It's never been affirmed in Kitaab and Sunnah the word jism. Jism. It's never been affirmed in Kitaab and Sunnah that Allah is jism, is a body. So that's the reason why. That's number one. So we say that Ahlul Sunnah, we don't use the word body. Use the word body to cause confusion. That's why you're trying to test me with it, because you know it's a trick question. You understand what I'm saying, everyone? The person coming to you with the question knows it's a trick question. So they try to now indirectly label you with saying the word body. You believe Allah is a body? I don't believe my Lord has body parts. That's what they say. I don't believe Allah has body parts. Tayyib. First of all, we never said body parts. Nobody never said that. We never said jism. We never said a'da, that Allah has a'da, body parts, or the word body. That was something the people of innovation came with to cause confusion and doubt. They used the word. They started it. They originated it. To use it as a trick question against Ahlul Sunnah. For you now to what? Fall into their trap. That's the reason why you have to have a keen scent to know how to answer it. You say, what do you mean by the word body? That's how you stop them in their tracks. You understand? What do you mean by body? Because body can necessitate a word, a meaning of falsehood, and it can necessitate a meaning of truth at the same time. You remove the falsehood, and you keep the what? The haqq in it. If you're saying that meaning by body, meaning that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a face like mine's, or a hand like mine's, or a foot like mine's, or finger like mine's, that is the meaning that we reject and we negate, and we say that that is the false meaning which we reject. As far as the word body, meaning something that is an essence incomplete in all of its characteristics, in every way, in every shape, form, or fashion, absolute complete in its life, eternally, in its existence, and it's complete in all of its aspects, and it does not resemble the characteristics of the creation, where his face does not resemble our face, or his fingers do not resemble our fingers, or his hands do not resemble our hands. That meaning we affirm without a doubt. That's how you answer those pathetic questions. You understand, everyone? It's a trick question. Is it clear what I'm saying? So if you're able to now answer this, you'll be able to protect yourself. So this is the filthy, satanic questions these people come with to cause confusion with Ahlul Sunnah, so they can plant the seed of doubt that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has these characteristics. Is it clear? This is above your head. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. I'm going to go back to the original lesson. This is something on the side. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Is it clear or is it not clear? Same thing if they say to you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, my Lord is not in a direction. First thing you say is, as far as direction, we never use the word what? Direction. You use the word direction. Secondly, what do you mean by the word what? Direction. Then you just start plucking them apart right up there. Is it clear? Huh? Tight. So we stop here because we got pre-maghrib. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. There's other words other than that. I just gave examples.